Warner Brothers family, their foray as immigrants into exhibitors, and then finally forming the company that thrives down the street today with the big tower.
For nearly a century, Warner Bros. Was the definition of Hollywood power. A studio that shaped childhoods, created legends, and carried some of the most profitable franchises ever made. Harry Potter, the Dark Knight Trilogy, The Lord of the Rings. This place wasn't just a studio. It was a cultural engine, a money-printing machine, a fortress of storytelling that seemed too big to fail. For years, the studio felt untouchable. Every time another Hollywood giant stumbled, Warner Bros. Somehow delivered a hit that reminded the industry who really ran the show. And at the heart of its empire was a hero unlike any other, Batman. The one character who never stopped making money. The one character studios across town wished they owned. The one hero who, no matter who wore the suit, pulled crowds into theaters through recessions, pandemics, and every shift in audience taste. But today, everything looks different. In a twist nobody expected, the same Warner Bros. That once dictated Hollywood's future is now leaning toward partnerships that would have been unthinkable a decade ago, including Netflix.
Announcing a definitive agreement to buy Warner Brothers in a multi-billion-dollar deal.
Netflix has inked a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery to buy the iconic TV and movie studio and its streaming assets, including HBO.
Netflix announced the multi-billion-dollar deal this morning after a weeks-long bidding process.
And perhaps strangest of all, for the first time in decades, the future of Batman, the studio's crown jewel, is genuinely uncertain. How did a company that legendary fall this hard, this fast? How did a studio with some of the most valuable stories ever written get pushed into the arms of competitors? And how did we reach a point where the character that once defined the studio's strength is now caught in the middle of its crisis? Let's connect the dots. The fall didn't happen overnight. It began with a belief that no matter how messy the decisions were, the brand would survive it. First came the rushed attempt to copy Marvel's shared universe. Not with planning, not with patience, but with shortcuts. Films were rewritten at the last second. Directors were replaced mid-production. Entire story arcs thrown away. Warner Bros. Kept chasing box office gold while ignoring the one thing Marvel had mastered: trust. Then came the acquisitions, billion-dollar deals made under the assumption that the studio could simply spend its way to relevance. AT&T bought WarnerMedia for more than $85 billion.
The AT&T has reportedly reached a deal to buy Time Warner for more than $80 billion. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, and it would be the largest deal of the year.
Forced the company into mountains of debt and tried to turn a storytelling titan into a telecom accessory. Meanwhile, streaming became a battlefield. Disney Plus surged, Netflix expanded globally, Amazon bought MGM. But Warner Bros.? They were burning cash faster than they could make decisions. HBO Max launched, relaunched, merged, changed its name, changed its strategy, then changed it again. Billions were spent. Billions were written off. And all the while, the studio that once shaped Hollywood seemed unable to even shape its own future. And at the center of this storm sits Batman. Warner Bros. Knows Batman is its most valuable character. They know one great Batman movie can stabilize entire financial quarters. The Dark Knight Trilogy proved it over a decade ago. Joker proved it again. And Matt Reeves' The Batman reminded the industry that audiences still crave grounded, character-driven storytelling. But with the studio in survival mode, Batman has been stretched into multiple timelines, multiple projects, none fully connected. One version is dark and detective-focused, another is planned for the new DCU, another is stuck in development limbo. And with every shift in leadership, every corporate shakeup, every desperate cost-cutting move, the character's future becomes harder to predict. Which brings us to the unthinkable. Warner Brothers opening the door to Netflix. Not to compete, to survive. Because when a studio is drowning in debt, it doesn't choose partners based on pride. It chooses based on oxygen. Netflix has global reach, endless streaming infrastructure, and a hunger for premium IP. Warner Brothers has legendary franchises and an urgent need for cash. A deal between them no longer feels shocking. It feels inevitable. But what does that mean for Batman? Will Batman lead DC forward or be traded as currency in Hollywood's streaming wars? Is The Dark Knight the heart of a new universe, or the price of staying afloat? For a studio that once defined the golden age of Hollywood, the next decision may determine whether it climbs back to the top or becomes the cautionary tale of the century. And here's where things get interesting. Because behind the scenes, there is one Batman project, one the public barely knows about, quietly being reconsidered, quietly being reevaluated, and quietly being positioned as the potential turning point for everything. But that story begins just after the moment the studio realized the one thing it had tried to avoid for years, that even legends can run out of time. And that is where this story truly starts.